So all this imaginary number stuff brings us to connecting it now back to finding zeros and finding the quadratic, or using the quadratic equation. So we have this function here. Hopefully you've already graphed it on Desmos. And on Desmos you should have seen that it graphs something like this, which means it never crosses the x-axis. So since it doesn't cross that x-axis, that means we're going to end up with imaginary roots. So right away that means factoring won't work, so we should just jump to the quadratic formula. So the whole goal is to find our zeros. So first off, I'm going to make sure we set it equal to 0. And now to use our formula, we know a equals 1, b equals -2, and c equals 2. So we're setting up x equals opposite of b, so +2 plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So from here, it's just a matter of simplifying everything. And what's going to end up happening is we'll end up with a negative underneath the square root. So start with this part first, as we usually do. -2 squared is a +4, minus 4 times 2, which is 8. So that means we're going to end up with the square root of -4 under that radical. So that gives us 2 plus or minus the square root of -4 all over 2. So now let's simplify the square root of -4 if we've been doing. Because that negative is there, we can pull the I out front. So we know it's going to be I root 4. And then on top of it, the square root of 4 is a perfect square, so we can turn this in to 2i. So now we have 2 plus or minus 2i over 2. Remember, when we get to this part, this is where we want to split into two different roots with that plus or minus. So we have 2 plus 2i over 2 and 2 minus 2i all over 2. And now remember the last part, that we can simplify this further. We can split those up so that we can reduce our fraction. Lots of 2's right here, but they will all cancel. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Again, 2 over 2 is 1 over 1, so that also cancels. So this just turns into 1 plus I. Other root's going to simplify the same, so 2 over 2, but with a minus in between. So again, 2 over 2 is equal to 1. Those 2's cancel out, so we end up with 1 minus I. So our two roots to this problem are 1 plus I and 1 minus I. So really, we're still solving the quadratic formula as we have been doing for the past couple weeks. The only new addition is taking that I out in the end.